Hello everyone, welcome to another exciting lecture for CA Inter Corporate and Other Laws Keyword Revision. In these videos, we are revising the keywords of all the chapters of CA Inter Corporate and Other Laws. In case you have missed the earlier sessions, I'm leaving a link over here. You can go and watch those videos. These keywords, if written in exam, will help you to score excellent marks because these are legal words, terms, sentences, section numbers, which you have to write in your answer. We are also going to discuss the type of questions that can be asked on various sections of the Act. If you're watching my video for the first time, I am CA Preeti Aggarwal and I make videos specially for you. Do subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so that you get notifications for all the upcoming revision sessions. So guys, let us discuss the chapter Management and Administration. This is one very important chapter for exam because you can expect at least 3 to 4 questions from this chapter. I don't think I'll be able to complete the entire chapter in today's lecture. So we will divide it into 2 parts. In today's session, I will cover the part relating to registers, returns, annual return, and maybe some prerequisites of a meeting. In the next session, in my next lecture, I will cover the remaining part of this chapter. Okay, so I don't want the video to be very lengthy. Let us keep it short and interesting, and let us start with management and administration. I am referring my book for CA Intercorporate and Other Laws. You can purchase it from my website capreetiaggarwal.com. Okay, let's get started. I hope you have a pen and a highlighter with you because these keywords, these key sentences are important. They will help you to fetch good marks in the exam. Now, this chapter is basically divided into 3 parts. In the first part, we discuss the registers, annual return. And in the next part, we discuss the prerequisites of a meeting. And in the third part of the lecture, normally we discuss the meetings. Okay, so it is like registers, returns, prerequisites of a meeting, and voting, meeting, types of meetings, etc. So I am also going to divide the discussion into 3 parts. We will discuss registers, returns, followed by prerequisites of a meeting, then meeting and voting. Sections 88 to 122 are covered in this chapter. So there are many sections which you need to study. Section 88 to section 95. They relate to the registers and returns part of it. So that is how we are going to study. These sections relate to register and returns. Then from section 96 to 105, it relates to meetings plus prerequisites, okay, prerequisites of a valid meeting, followed by section 106 to 122, which relates to voting. Okay, voting, maintenance of minutes, etc. So let us discuss section 88 to 95 first. These are the various rules and forms that are involved in the chapter. So you will find a list in my textbook. This list will help you to memorize the forms, the various rules, and it will also help you a lot one day before the exam. So you can go through all the provisions well in this book itself. Now let us discuss why meetings are required. Company is an artificial person. Company cannot take decisions for itself. See, living persons like you and I, we can take decisions, reach a conclusion, form judgments, but company being an artificial person, it cannot take decisions for itself. So decisions are taken at properly convened, called, held, and constituted meetings. Why are meetings held? Why are we calling people to one place? See, we need the consent of members for the general meeting. For routine work, we already have the board of directors, but even then they need to meet, deliberate upon various issues. What if we don't conduct a meeting? See, if we don't call everyone at one place, we need their view, we need their vote for taking decisions. We'll have to call each and every person or we will have to send email to each and every person, obtain their consent, consolidate all that. It is such a big hassle. It is not possible to call each and every person and seek their opinion, or their decision, or their vote on a particular resolution. So that is why it is better to call everyone at one place, and so that they can deliberate upon various issues. Deliberate means they can discuss upon various issues and reach a conclusion. That conclusion which they reach is known as a resolution. Like we always pass new year resolution. Every year we decide that we will sleep early, wake up early, study more, watch less TV. These are decisions. These are things which we decide for ourselves, although we forget everything by the end of the day. Okay, on 2nd January we are back to normal, but here the decisions taken by the companies are in the form of resolution. We resolve that, we decide that we are going to do a particular thing. Similarly, the company also takes decisions for itself in the form of resolutions. So that is why the company is not a natural person. It cannot express its will, and it can do so only through properly called, convened meetings. This is just an introduction. I don't think this is important for exam. This will not be asked in the exam. It was just a warm-up session for us. Yes. There are different types of meetings. We have annual general meeting, extraordinary meeting, class meeting, and various other meetings also. But for exam, in your syllabus, you need to study only the annual general meeting, extraordinary meeting, and class meeting. Other things are not covered in your syllabus. Okay. Next, let us start our discussion with register of members discussed under section 88. Now, here, please note the heading. They have mentioned register of members, etc. So, these provisions apply not only to the register of members, but it also applies to register of debenture holders and other security holders. Okay, I'm writing in short. So, this applies to not only the members, but also debenture holders and other security holders. Okay. Now, every company, be it private or public, they have to keep and maintain a register of members. So, we will highlight this. These are various registers. The form is also given over here. They will have to maintain a register of members for each class of equity and preference shareholders. Each class, now equity and preference, these are two different classes of shareholders. In equity also we may have shareholders holding face value 5, face value 10. These are separate classes of shareholders. Preference shareholders may be holding 8%, 10%, 12%. These are separate different classes of shareholders. So for each class we will maintain a separate register because each class has its own right. This will be maintained in form MGT1. Now, if you are a company having share capital, then the register will be maintained in form MGT1. But if you are a company not having share capital, then see over here, in case the company is not having share capital, then the register will be maintained containing the following information. So you will write the name, address, PAN number, nationality, in case of a minor, name of the guardian, etc. So this is something which can be asked as a theory question. Okay, in case a company is not having share capital, what are the contents of register of members? It will be these are the points which you need to write over there. So in case the company has share capital, you will maintain the register in form MGT1. MGT1 also contains similar requirements: name of the person, when did he become a member, has he transferred shares, to whom has he transferred shares, what are the shares remaining with him. So all these provisions are mentioned here. Rule 3, Rule 4, Rule 5, these are the rules which are applicable which are to be read along with section 88. We also will have to prepare a register of debenture holders and other security holders. Although the form is same, form MGT2, it doesn't mean that you need to prepare one single register. Registers will be maintained separately. Only thing is that the format is given in MGT2. Format is the same, but register will be different. Like how you prepare a separate notebook for every subject. Similarly, here also you will have to prepare a separate register. Okay. Entries will have to be made in the register within 7 days after the board of directors or a duly constituted committee has allotted the shares, or if it is a case of transmission, then within 7 days we need to update the register. As soon as you update the register, you will also have to update the index of member. We will study later that in case the members are more than 50, then you will also have to maintain a register, an index of member, and index will be maintained together with the register. Where will you maintain the register? So what is the place for maintaining the register? It is very obvious that the register will have to be maintained at the registered office of the company unless a special resolution is passed. This is very important for exam. Unless a special resolution is passed authorizing the company to keep the register at any other place but within the same city, town, village of the registered office, or you can also keep it at any other place in which more than 1/10 of the total member entered in the register reside. Okay, so now you will obviously keep the register at the registered office of the company, because the main purpose of registered office is to maintain the registers, returns, etc. But that registered office is very small, or for better administrative purposes you need to keep the register somewhere else, then yes, you can keep the register at any other place within the same city, town, village, or at a place outside that, if you obtain the consent of at least 1/10, sorry, if at least 1/10 of the members entered in the register stay over there. This is very important for case based questions. For case based questions, you can refer my compiler. In that, there will be a question that most of the members are staying in Kolkata and they want the company's register to be maintained at Kolkata. So is it possible? You will say yes if you if more than 1/10 of the total members who are entered in the register stay over there and you pass a special resolution, then yes, you can keep it at some other place also other than the registered office. Okay. Then yes, it is a prima facie evidence. It is not a conclusive evidence, because the register takes time to update for transfer and transmission. So if your name is entered in the register, you are a member, but you may not be a shareholder. You may have sold the shares to some other person, but the register is not yet updated. That is why it is considered just as a prima facie evidence and not a conclusive evidence. Then form MGT1 is for the companies that have issued shares which has share capital. Otherwise, the contents of the company which has not issued share capital is mentioned over here. If any change occurs in the status of a member, debenture holder, or other security holder, whether due to death, insolvency, this can be asked as a case-based question, or change in the name, or due to transfer to IEPF, then those changes, reasons, entries have to be maintained in the respective register. Can be asked, cannot be asked in the exam. It's a very small question. Any change will have to be updated. This is a very important part for case-based question. Again, case-based question. There is a question in the module which is given for this particular bullet point. Now, let's say, for example, that Mr. and Mrs. Iyer have purchased shares in the joint name. Okay, they have recently got married and they purchased shares in the joint name. Now, if we have joint owners, then they will decide the person whose name will be mentioned first in the register of members. The person whose name is mentioned first is considered as a senior member, senior not by age, but because of his status. The notices will be sent to that person. He will be allowed to vote at the meeting. So it occupies a lot of importance. Now, they will only decide whose name is to be mentioned first. So let's say that Mr. Iyer said that you write Mrs. Iyer's name first, and he is requesting the company not to write my name. Although we are holding shares jointly, you write only name of Mrs. Iyer in the register. Company will not allow him to do so. The company cannot write name of just one person in case the shares are held jointly by two or more persons. If the shares are held jointly, the name of both will come. You tell me whose name will come first, but we will write both the names in the register. Yes, it is possible that maybe they got divorced, or they had a fight. They may want the company to split their name, like you write 60 shares in my name, 40 shares in Mr. Iyer's name. We can do that, but you cannot ask us to write name of only one person if the shares are held by more than one, if the shares are held jointly. So that is what is mentioned in this bullet point. Then yes, if we have many members who are living in a foreign country, then we can, for better, again, administrative purpose, to enter the changes in that register, we may keep a foreign register in some foreign country also. Now that foreign register along with the principal register in India will be considered as a final register of the company. Now what the company does is they will maintain one foreign register in a foreign country, but they will also maintain a duplicate of that in India. So if I am a person who is staying in India and I want to inspect the register of members of the company, I will see the principal register which is maintained in India. I will also see the duplicate of that foreign register, and together I will come to know who are the members of my company. So a company, this is very important for exam, if authorized by articles, only if it is authorized by articles, it can maintain a register of members who are staying outside India. Now this is also covered under section 88, and this has to be read with rule 7. Now what is given in rule 7, that is mentioned below. So let's say, for example, I have 100 members who are staying in Canada. So for those 100 members, I can also keep a register in Canada. Of course, they will, whatever entries are made over there, they will send it to India. We will update that in the duplicate register. Duplicate plus the principal register will be considered as the final register of the company. So outside India, we will maintain a register of whom? Of the members, debenture holders, or other security holders, or the beneficial owners who are resident in that country. It is basically for the ease of entering the transactions, making changes, etc. Now, what I mentioned in the rules. The company shall within 30 days, now this may be asked as an MCQ, so we will highlight the keywords over here. It shall within 30 days from where? From the opening of any foreign register, file with the ROC, change the ink, file with the ROC, notice of the situation where the register is kept in form MGT3. We not only need to notify the registrar where the register is kept, we not only need to inform him about the register, the place, the address where the register is kept, but if we change that place or if we discontinue keeping the register, then also we need to inform the ROC in form MGT3. In the event of change in the situation, or if we are discontinuing, then also you need to intimate in form MGT3. So can I say MGT3 will be filed in 3 cases. One is informing the ROC about the place where the register is kept. It will also inform him about the change, and thirdly, it will also inform that we have discontinued keeping the register. So within 30 days, it is important for MCQ. And this form MGT3, that is also important. It will be, foreign register will be deemed, it will be considered to be a part of the company's principal register, and it will be maintained in the same format as the principal register. Although this is important for understanding, I don't think a question will be asked on this. Okay. Entries in the foreign register, just like the other registers, will be made within 7 days after the board of directors or its duly constituted committee has confirmed the allotment of those securities. So just as how we make the entries in the register within 7 days, similarly here also the entries will have to be made in 7 days. But I had informed you that we will transmit the entries to India. It will be transmitted within 15 days to India, because here we are maintaining a duplicate register for all the purposes. Now the original register plus the duplicate register can be inspected by the members who are staying in India. The company, this can be important and asked for case-based question. So please highlight this. This is important for us. From the rule, what is important? One is MGT3, and within 30 days you need to inform. This is also important. The company shall within 15 days after the entry is made transmit that to India, and here in India we will maintain a duplicate register and it will be a part of the principal register. This can be asked as a case-based question. This is very important. What if I want to discontinue keeping the register in Canada? So I have two options. The first option is that I can transfer all the entries to some other foreign register maintained in other country. Let's say I want to transfer it to America. So from Canada, I will transfer all the entries to America, or I can transfer all the entries to the principal register which I am maintaining in India. Okay, so this can be asked as a multiple choice question. Then I had also informed you that we will maintain an index. Like, why are we maintaining the index? See, it helps us to, like, your textbook has an index. It will help you to find where the chapter starts from, where it ends. Similarly, here also the index will help us to find the information of the member in the register of the company. Only the companies which have at least 50 members. So this can be asked as an MCQ. So in this, you will have to remember that in case the number of members is more than or equal to 50, then you need to maintain the index. Where will it be maintained? At the registered office, or if the register is kept at some other place, then it will be maintained at the place of the register. Here it is also important. It can be asked as multiple choice question. The entries will be made simultaneously. Okay, as soon as the register is updated, you will simultaneously, if required, update the index also. Since everything is electronic, it is possible to update simultaneously. This can also be asked as a multiple choice question. So both are important for MCQs. Okay, that is about index of members. This is not possible for us to revise. It is a huge concept, section 89 and section 90. Although I discuss it in class, it takes me at least 2 hours. I think it is more than that. 1.5 hour. Yeah, 2 to 3 hours just to explain this concept in my lectures, because I give a lot of examples and we consider various scenarios. So I'm not covering it now. It's really difficult to explain that concept in just revision part. Okay, very important for case-based question. Okay, very important for case-based question. You can expect a question on this. Okay, and you need to memorize all the provisions that you can see on the screen. So they can ask you what is the form number, why is it passed. Basic question which they ask is that the company has not held the annual general meeting, therefore they have not filed the annual return. So is the company in default? Does the company need to file an annual return if it has not held the annual general meeting? You will say yes, it is a compliance requirement. Even if the company has not held the annual general meeting, you will have to file the annual return along with a statement explaining the reasons why it has not held the annual general meeting. Section 92 is important. This section number is very important. You need to memorize the section number. This is important from compliance point of view. So what is my keyword? What should be mentioned in my answer? That this is a compliance point of view. It is an annual compliance. See the word annual. It shows that it has to be filed every year by every company, be it private or be it public company. Every company has to file within what time? Within 60 days. Okay, it has to be filed within 60 days from the conclusion of the annual general meeting. From conclusion of the annual general. I did not hold the annual general meeting. Then what is the last date when the annual general meeting should have been held? 60 days from that you will file it with ROC. In which form? In form MGT 7. But in case of OPC and small company, it will be filed in MGT 7A. This is an abridged version or summary version of the form. Where was this authority given? Listen over here. It is mentioned below. See, the central government was given the authority to prescribe an abridged form of annual return for one person company, small company, other classes or classes of company. Because this authority was given to the central government, they later on prescribed form 7A for OPC and small companies, an abridged version. It contains less information is required. Okay, so less information needs to be given in that case. So we are reducing the burden on small companies. Yes, this is again important for MCQ. I have already informed this. The annual return will be filed within 60 days of holding the annual general meeting. Where no annual general meeting is held, then within 60 days from the date when the annual general meeting should have been held, together with the statement specifying the reasons for not holding the AGM. Please mark this as very important for case based question. You need to learn this. If you go through my compiler, you will realize minimum 5 questions have been asked just on this bullet point. Okay, so you need to learn this by heart. Now, when should the subsequent annual general meeting be held? It should be held within 6 months from the end of the financial year. But there are 3 requirements. It should be held in every calendar year. It should be held within 6 months from the end of the financial year. And the third requirement is the gap between 2 annual general meetings should not be more than 15 months. All these are cumulative requirements. So considering when was the previous annual general meeting held, and when will you be eligible to hold the next annual, like what is the last day for holding the next annual general meeting, considering all those 3 factors, you will decide what will be the last day on which the annual general meeting should have been held in this year. From that you will calculate 60 days, and within 60 days the annual return should be filed with ROC in the respective form. If you do not, you will be subject to penalty. Ma'am, do we need to remember this penalty? Generally, I leave it up to the student. Like, it's okay if you don't remember the penalty, but in this case, I insist that you memorize these penalty provisions. The penalty provisions are very simple over here. The company and the officer in default, they both will be liable. Penalty is the same, only the maximum limit is different. In case of the company, they will be liable to penalty of 10,000 rupees. Officer in default will also be liable for 10,000 rupees. Further, for continuing default, they will be liable for 100 rupees for each day of default. And maximum, if for the company is 2 lakhs, for the member it is 50,000. This is the only change, maximum. The other penalty provisions are the same. 10,000 rupees plus 100 rupees for each day of default. Maximum 2 lakh for the company, 50,000 for the officer in default. If you go through my compiler, you will realize that there are 2 questions in which they have specifically, 2 or 3 questions where they have specifically asked you to mention the penalty provisions also in case of an annual return. So you cannot avoid it. You will have to learn it. If the company secretary in practice who is certifying the annual return, if the company secretary files, certifies any false information they are aware of, then they will also be liable for penalty, maximum rupees 2 lakhs. Annual return must contain, this can be asked as a theory question, and yes, it has been asked in the exam. So this is a theory question. It has been asked as a theory question. What are the contents of the annual return? So you need to know. These are basically non-financial information. Who are the directors? Is there any change? Who are the promoters of the company? What are the number of shares held by them? What is the remuneration of directors? When was the meeting held? Any punishment against the company? So these are the various details. This you have to go through. It can be asked as a theory question. Signing, yes, again, this is important for case-based question. Who must sign? If you have a company secretary, then in that case, the annual return will be signed by a director and the company secretary. But I don't have a company secretary. There is no company secretary. Then a director and a company secretary in whole time practice. But in case of one-person company, you need not go to a secretary in whole time practice. It can be signed by the director. It is one of the privileges given to a one-person company. In one-person company, small company, annual return shall be signed by the company secretary, but I don't have a company secretary, then it can be signed by the director. I need not go to a company secretary in practice. It is one of the privileges that it can be signed only by director. It need not be signed by a company secretary in practice. Okay. This is important for a listed company. Yes, it can be asked in the exam. For a listed company or a company having paid up capital, I'll write it over here. Paid up capital of 10 crore or more. Okay, paid up share capital. You can write it in short form. Paid up share capital of 10 crore or more, or a turnover or more than or equal to rupees 50 crore, then the annual return will also be certified by a company secretary in practice, and the certificate will be in form MGT 8. This is important for us. Why? It is just a compliance requirement. The company secretary is certifying that all the information mentioned in the return is true and accurate to the best of his knowledge, and all the provisions of the act have been complied with. That is the only thing which they have to submit. And this will also be filed along with the annual return. Web link, this can be asked as a case-based question. Web link will be disclosed in the board's report, and the annual return will also be placed on the website of the company in case the company has a website. This is important for exam. Please highlight that a web link will also be stated in the board's report. Board's report is nothing but report that the board is giving, that this is how we manage the company. This is what we did in the company. We are going to discuss all that in accounts of company later. So there are contents of the board's report. They are just giving a report to the company or the members. That is, this is in the manner in which your company was governed by us. Place of keeping, yes, this is important. There are three things which are covered in this section. The first thing is where, okay, the place where the registers and returns have to be kept. What is the place? And then it is to be preserved for. It means they are talking for how long, that is a period for which you need to preserve. Okay, preserve for what is the period, and inspection. Okay, so these are the three things which are answered in this section. Okay, so these are the three things. What is the place, for how long you need to preserve, and where can we inspect, who can inspect the returns and registers. So we are basically talking about the registers which are to be maintained under section 88, and also copies of the annual return under section 92. See my color coding. Registers under section 88 and return under section 89 under section 92. Where are you supposed to keep it? It will be kept at the registered office of the company, but my registered office is very small, or for better administration purpose, I may also keep it at any other place in India in which more than 1/10 of the total member entered in the register reside, if it is approved by a special resolution passed in that meeting. This is also important for case based question. They will say that company, where will it keep? At the registered office, but the company decided to keep the register at some other place. Is it allowed? Then you will say in your answer that it may keep it at some other place if more than 1/10 of the total member entered in the register reside and it is approved by a special resolution. Then they can keep it at some other place also. For how long do we need to preserve this? I have given you a table. This talks about the register of members along with the index register of debenture holders. Members will be preserved permanently in case of debenture holders or other security holders within 8 years from the date of redemption. In case of foreign register and foreign register of members and other debenture holders, security holders, it will be members will be preserved permanently unless it is discontinued and all the entries are transferred either to some foreign register maintained in a foreign country, or it is transferred to the main register maintained in India. In case of debenture or other security holders within 8 years from the date of redemption. So this is important for us, from the date of redemption. Annual return, this is separate. Annual return will be kept for 8 years from the date of filing with the ROC. This all will be kept with company secretary or any person authorized by the board in case you don't have a company secretary. The third part, I had also informed that there is a third part to this section. What about inspection? In case of registers and copies of return, it will be open for inspection by, we will highlight member, debenture holder, other security holders, beneficial owners. See, you are keeping their record, so they can obviously inspect. When they can inspect? During business hours, that is between 9 to 6 generally. Otherwise, you can have your own business hours. But you cannot go at 12:30 in the night and say, now I want to inspect the minute, I want to inspect the registers. Law says at least give 2 hours in a day for inspection. Okay, not less than 2 hours on every working day. Members and debenture holders, other security holders, they need not pay any fees because it is their document, it is their record. They need not pay any fees. But any other person, okay, any other person may inspect, but that person will have to pay fees. Now, this other person may include directors, example director. Okay, example director, in case they want to inspect, they can do so by paying certain fees. All right. They can also take extracts. This is something which you already know. They can also take extracts. They can also take copies, which will be submitted within 7 days on payment of prescribed. Copy means you can take a Xerox or a printout of that. You can pay a fees and then the company will give it to you. This is very important for exam. This was also added through an amendment. Now, see, the members can inspect the register without payment of fees. अपने ही records है, हम देख सकते हैं. But this, in order to protect the privacy of members, this is a very good initiative. It was a very good amendment introduced that yes, in order to protect the privacy of the members, we will not share details like the PAN number, the mobile number, the registered address, or the address in case of an individual, unique identification number, email number, mobile number. This we will not share just to protect the privacy. So this was to protect the privacy of members, debenture holders, other security holders, etc. So this was added through an amendment. Up till now, a question has not been asked on this part. So yes, you can expect a question and it can be asked. Okay. All right. Let us move further. Now we have come to annual general meeting. So what we will do is, let me see the time. Yes, we have a lot of time. Okay. So we will discuss annual general meeting, extraordinary meeting, class meeting also. Now, superb revision, good speed. Annual general meeting, section 96, 97, 98 will not come here. 96, I think I will change this to 97 and 99. Why 98 I am not writing? Because 98 relates to power of tribunal to call EGM. Okay, so I'll just change this. Okay. Section 96 contains provisions relating to annual general meeting. 97 is power of tribunal to call AGM in case the company fails, and section 99 is the penalty imposed for not complying with the provisions of section 96 to 98. Okay. Now, what is annual general meeting? See the word annual. It shows that this meeting will be held every year. Okay, it has to be held every year. Now, I'm using the word year because I'm indicating that this is the calendar year. See, whenever the word year is used, it is calendar year. When we want to say financial year, then we will say financial year. Why are we calling? अरे भाई ये साल में एक बार तो मिलना चाहिए ना. We should meet at least once in a year. So calling annual general meeting is compulsory. It's a compliance requirement. You have to call the annual general meeting. And in every annual general meeting of every company, there is certain ordinary business which you discuss. Now, why are we calling the annual general meeting? That is the main question of people. Why should we come? See, there are certain things which we will discuss every year in every AGM. You take the AGM of any company. This is discussed. What is the ordinary business? Will this be asked in the exam? Yes, this will be asked in the exam. It is important. You need to memorize this. What are my keywords over here? How will you remember? One is consideration of the financial statement, consideration plus adoption of the financial statement. I will also adopt the financial statement, accept the financial statements, board's report and auditor's report, declaration of dividend. This is how you will remember. Appointment of directors in place of those retiring and appointment of auditors and fixing their remuneration. It is not compulsory that they freeze the remuneration. They may also delegate this authority to the board of directors that you decide the remuneration, and they may give certain guidelines. Declaration of dividend. Which dividend are we talking about? This is the final dividend. The board of directors will propose the dividend in the board meeting. It will be declared in the annual general meeting. The board has proposed 10%. Can we say this is too less? Give us at least 20%. Can they declare more? No. But can they declare less? Like, I don't want 10%, give us 8%. Yes, less is possible, more is not possible. So in the board's report, they will propose the dividend and then you can declare it in the annual general meeting. Any business other than ordinary business will be considered as special business. Now, this concept of ordinary business exists only in annual general meeting. Business in any other meeting is always special business. Okay. So it is not the business actually which is ordinary or special. It is the meeting which makes it ordinary or special. Now, if you are appointing the auditor in the annual general meeting, it's an ordinary business, but the auditor appointed in some other meeting automatically becomes a special business. First annual general meeting and subsequent annual general meeting, important for case-based question. Now, first annual general meeting, what are the key points? It should be held within 9 months from end of financial year. Okay, it must be held within 9 months from the end of the financial year. Now, first financial year, let's say for example, ends on 31st of March 2023. Then it must be held within 9 months, that is by 31st December 2023. Okay. So in case the company was, let's say for example, incorporated on 1st August 2022, the first year will end on 31st March 2023. The first annual general meeting must be held within 9 months. Now, the meeting must be held in every calendar year, but this is not possible. This is not possible in the year of incorporation. Why? See, the company was incorporated on 1st August 2022. Now, annual general meeting must be held in every calendar year. Is it possible for me to hold the meeting in the year of incorporation? I have not even closed the accounts. What will I discuss? So, in 2022, it is not possible for me to hold the annual general meeting. It's fine. It's okay. We will allow this provided you hold the first annual general meeting within 9 months from the end of the financial year. Another point which you need to know is that no extension will be given for the first annual general meeting. No extension for the first AGM. We are already giving you extended time. Extension may be for the subsequent annual general meeting. In case of subsequent annual general meeting, what are the keywords? It must be held in each calendar year, every calendar year, within 6 months from the end of the financial year, and gap between the two AGM must not be more than 15 months. These are cumulative. These are cumulative requirements. Cumulative means all three have to be complied with. Now, let's say, for example, that 6 months from the end of the financial year, it comes to 30th of September 2023. But considering my previous annual general meeting, and now if I'm planning to hold on 1st of September 2023. Now, if I'm planning to call the AGM on 1st September 2023, and my 15 months last AGM, plus if I calculate on the gap between the date of last AGM and 1st September, it is coming more than 15 months. So my question is, considering the date of the last AGM, when will 15 months end? Tell me. So your answer is, ma'am, 15 months will end on 10th of August. So since 15 months are ending on 10th of August, I cannot hold the meeting on 1st September. I will have to hold the meeting on 1st August only. I was planning to hold the meeting on 30th September because I can hold it within 6 months. But you also need to ensure that the gap between last AGM and this AGM date is not more than 15 months. If the 15 months is ending on 10th August, then you will have to hold the meeting on 10th August. So can I say that whichever is earlier? So earlier of, okay, all right. But yes, due to certain circumstances, under exceptional circumstances, ROC may grant an exception, but only for subsequent annual meeting. Maximum extension is for 3 months. See, anyways, my last day 30th September. If I add 3 months over here, it will end on 31st of December 2023. If I go beyond this, then meeting will not be held in the calendar year. So I cannot give more extension. I cannot go beyond 3 months. So maximum extension is 3 months. This is also very important for case-based question. Okay, very important. You will find those many questions in my compiler which revolve around this provision. Okay, now every annual general meeting should be called. What are the keywords? Business hours, they have specified 9 to 6. Meeting only needs to start within this time. It is not that you cannot continue beyond 6. But yes, meeting should start between 9 to 6. It can continue till 10 p.m. also at night, but it should start before 6 o'clock. On a day, let us highlight, on a day that is not a national holiday. Now, what is national holiday? It includes any day which is declared by the central government as national holiday. It also includes Republic Day, Independence Day, and Gandhi Jayanti, or any other day. Now, I have already sent the notice. Unfortunately, government and suddenly they announced the day of my meeting as a national holiday. Notice release ho chuka hai. You will not consider that day as a national holiday. You can hold the meeting. But before issuing the notice, I came to know that the central government has declared that day as a national holiday. Then no problem. You can select some other day. Okay. It shall be held at the, let me highlight, at the registered office or at other some place within the same city, town, village where the registered office is situated. There is a restriction over here. You can hold the annual general meeting at the registered office or at any other place but within the same city, town, village where the registered office is situated. However, if I am an unlisted company, okay, I am an unlisted company, this is mentioned over here, it is very important. In case of an unlisted company, it may be held at any place in India if the consent is obtained. Please highlight, very important, all the members. How? In advance. Okay, this is very important. These are the key words. Only in case of unlisted company, I can hold it at any place in India, provided I receive the consent of all the members, that too in advance. These are the keywords. Okay, let us continue. Power of tribunal: in case I am not calling the AGM, the company is not calling the AGM, members can approach or the tribunal can suo moto issue directions for the company to call AGM. In this case, one of the direction is that any one member present either in person or proxy will be considered. Okay, either in person or proxy will be considered as quorum. Okay. Now, generally, quorum refers to the minimum number which is required to be present to constitute a valid meeting. Here, even one member, if it is present, will be deemed to be quorum. This is one of the reasons, because tribunal is calling. If you don't come to attend the meeting, even one person can pass a resolution that will be binding on all the members of the company. Default will attract penalty. Okay. Then we have calling of extraordinary general meeting, section 100, and also we include section 98, power of tribunal to call EGM. Now, I have held the annual general meeting. Okay. Now, my next annual general meeting will be next year. What if I want to discuss things between this? I can wait for the next AGM. So, meeting held between two annual general meetings is known as extraordinary general meeting. Who can call it? Who can call it? Board on their own. Board can call it on the request of members. Members want to, maybe remove a managing director. Member want to discuss something. So members can also call it. Members will request the company that is board. Then the board will call the meeting. If the board refuses, requisitionists may themselves call that and hold the meeting. It can also be called by the tribunal. This is covered in the section 98. So board on their own, board on its own, or board on the request of members. One member request, can we call the meeting? No, we need requisite number of members, and they are, in case of company having share capital, okay, members holding at least 1/10 of the paid up capital carrying voting rights, but the company does not have share capital, then members holding at least 1/10 of the voting power, if they give a request in writing, I want request in writing, they should be signed by all the members, deposited at the registered office of the company. So they should be signed by all the requisitionists. It should be deposited at the registered office of the company. They only need to mention the reasons, okay, why we are calling the meeting. If they don't mention the reason, they can only mention that we want to call the annual general meeting. This is why we want to call. Any other explanation can be given even at the meeting. If there is no quorum present within half an hour, see, we will wait for the latecomers. Generally, in quorum, we wait for half an hour for latecomers. If the quorum is not present, then the meeting will be dissolved. अरे खुद meeting बुलाते हैं और attend करने नहीं आते. You are calling the meeting and you yourself are not attending the meeting. It will not be adjourned. It will be dissolved. Okay, so there is a keyword. This is again important because it was added through an amendment. Generally, the extraordinary general meeting must be held in India, but if you are a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India, So the EGM of this company, okay, you are a wholly owned subsidiary of a company incorporated outside India. Then in case of the extraordinary general meeting of a wholly owned company, this can be held either in India or it can even be held outside India. Okay, outside India. If the members are, if the company is not calling the extraordinary general meeting, then members can also call. So members also have the right to call the extraordinary general meeting. Now, we will wait for 45 days. Okay, we will wait for 45 days for the company to hold the meeting. See, generally what is mentioned over here, that as soon as the requisition is received, within 21 days, you have to call the meeting and you have to hold the meeting within 45 days. So call within 21 days and hold within 45 days. But you did not. Members are waiting. Then the members shall, within 3 months from the receipt of requisition, okay, from the 3 months from the date when they deposited the requisition, within 3 months, the members will themselves hold and call the meeting. But this involves expenses. Don't worry, you incur expense, you recover it from the company will then deduct it from the remuneration of the defaulting directors. I think it's a very good provision. When your remuneration is hit, then you will call the EGM. Okay. These are rules for meeting called by requisitionists themselves. If the company is not calling the meeting, then the requisitionists will themselves hold the meeting. So it will be held either at the registered office or the same city, town, village where the registered office is situated on a day that is not a national holiday. In case of the EGM called by the directors, okay, the meeting will be held at any place within India if it is called by the directors. But if it is called by the requisitionists themselves, it will be held either at the registered office or some place, but which is within the registered office of the company. Any place, city, same city, town, village where the registered office is situated. So if it is called by the board, it can be held anywhere in India. In AGM, there was a restriction that it could be held either at the registered office or same city, town, village where the registered office is situated. Same, okay. But in EGM, it was anywhere in India, but that was only by directors. If it is called by the requisitioners, it will be held either at the registered office or any same city, town, village where the registered office is situated. If it is a special resolution, you have to indicate in the notice that we are passing a special resolution. That indication must be given. Notice must be signed by all the requisitioners or anyone authorized. Explanatory statement need not be given. You can only mention the reasons at the meeting, that why we are calling the meeting. So no explanatory statement needs to be given. Requisitionists may disclose the reasons at the meeting. Generally, we for special businesses, we do give an explanatory statement, but here they just need to call the EGM. Reasons can be given in the meeting itself. Okay. The notice can be sent by registered post, speed post, electronic mode like email. This is very interesting. Accidental omission or non-receipt will not invalidate the meeting. Now, there were two members of the same name. Like we have Ritesh Shah, okay? It's a very common name, Ritesh Shah. Now, I have two members of the same name and coincidentally, they are living in the same society. I sent a notice to one and then when I was addressing the notice to the other, I was like, I've already sent a notice to this person. So it was just an accidental omission that the notice was not sent to the other Ritesh Shah. That will not invalidate the meeting. He cannot challenge the resolutions passed at the meeting. And non-receipt, like you have not updated your address, you have not updated your email ID. We sent the notice, you didn't receive. That is not our problem. That will not invalidate the meeting. Then we have class meeting of a particular class of shareholder, like equity is a class and preference is also a class. Now in equity, we have shareholders holding face value 10 and face value 5. The shareholders holding shares of face value 10 will have more rights as compared to the shareholders of face value 5. They have different rights. They will conduct different meetings. The meeting conducted by each class is known as a class meeting. Members of one class will not attend meeting of the other class. They will pass resolutions which concern their class, the rights of that class only. So that is nothing but a class meeting. So students, today's lecture covered what are the registers, returns, etc. Then what are the types of meetings. In my next lecture, I will cover what are the prerequisites of a meeting, that is notice, quorum, proxy, then resolutions to be passed, and we will also cover the part of voting. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. It was a quick session of just half a chapter. I don't want the lecture to be very, very lengthy. So this was just a very quick revision of the keywords and also the key concepts. I will see you in my next session where we will complete this chapter. I'll see you there.